I want to call our colleagues in the Senate to quash that decision. Yeah, let them stand firm, protect the rights of the governors.
Senators to convene a special sitting next week to deliberate on Governor Kawira Mwangaza's impeachment.
Let the all county assembly be dissolved and let them call for election, fresh elections. If they are not satisfied with the election of Governor Kawira, Her Excellency was elected by the people of Meru County.
This as Meru residents kickstart the process of signature collection to dissolve the county assembly.
For our officers who unfortunately get injured at work, the government has constructed 3 specialized hospitals dedicated to police and prison officers.
Government honors fallen police officers, pledges to launch benevolent fund for their families.
Watu wa umeme, wala ambao ni wakubwa wa umeme, nataka ni waombe muweze kuweka ulinzi, security kwa hizi waya ili mwezi akikuja asituhangaishe.
And we shall tell you about Matumbufu residents in Bungoma County who have been in the dark for the past 5 years following constant electricity post-vandalism. It is the 16th day of December 2022. A very good evening to you. And Catherine Simalo is on the sign language docket and I'm yours truly, Stanley Iringitanato. First story this evening. The Senate is expected to convene a special sitting Tuesday next week for senators to consider the impeachment of Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza. This as female members of the parliament condemned the Meru MCA, saying the move was politically instigated. And as Flora Limuki reports, a section of Meru residents have started collecting signatures in a move aimed at petitioning the Senate to dissolve the Meru County Assembly.
The ayes have it and the motion is passed.
Senators are expected to convene for a special sitting on Tuesday next week to consider the impeachment of Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza, a day after Senate Speaker Emerson Kingi received a report from Meru Speaker Ayub Bundi on the same.
Kwa hivyo tuko hapa kusema sisi wote kama viongozi ya kina mama ambao tumechaguliwa Kenya hii, tunasimama na mama Governor Kawira Mwangaza.
I want to call our colleagues in the Senate to quash that decision. Yeah, let them stand firm, protect the rights of the governors.
Governor Kawira Mwangaza was impeached by 67 ward representatives just 112 days after her election as Meru County Governor on an independent ticket.
Even if she was an independent candidate, she's not independent as a leader. She is a leader for everybody, whether they were in Azimio or in Kenya Kwanza. Once you are sworn in, you lead, you serve everybody.
They have also lauded the move to dissolve the Meru County Assembly after a group of activists started collecting signatures on the same.
Let the all county assembly be dissolved and let them call for election, fresh elections. If they are not satisfied with the election of Governor Kawira, Her Excellency was elected by the people of Meru County.
Meru residents have begun collecting signatures proposing that the Meru Assembly
Leo ni siku 113 na hakuna kazi tumeona ikiendelea kwa jimbo letu la Meru.
Viongozi wa Meru, wakaaji wa Meru, wale ambao tuko opinion leaders, tutasimama na mama yetu governor na tuko na hakika Senate wakisikiza hii maombi yote imeomba hapa na county assembly yetu, governor atakuwa mshindi.
The Meru MCAs are accusing Mwangaza of abuse of office and nepotism, among other things. Flora Limuki, TV 47.
Thanks, Limuki, for that. And away from that, the government has pledged to minimize the risk exposure of police officers while on duty. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki says the government will set up a benevolent fund for police and prison officers. Kithure at the same time slammed human rights activists who he says are quick to defend criminals, sidelining police officers who are killed by criminals in the line of duty. Take a look. 53 police officers have died in the line of duty in the past 1 year, with the government set to operationalize a benevolent fund that will enhance and consolidate benefits for the families and dependents of fallen officers. This is according to Interior CS Kithure Kindiki.
In 30 days, I will need that report, including draft regulations of how that fund will operate, the governance structure, and that fund should be housed at the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, but should have a separate administration.
The National Police Service Hospital along Bagathi Way and the Kenya Prison Service Hospital in Meru, Kiambu County will be unveiled in the next 90 days, while the Border Hospital in Kanyonyo, Kitui County will be unveiled in the coming weeks.
And we are also equipping in those hospitals with support systems for counseling of our officers who are traumatized by the experiences they have whenever they are defending our country and our country's interest in the field.
On his part, the Inspector General of Police, Japheth Koome, has urged the officers to use their guns appropriately without fear.
Yule officer anatumia bunduki yake kulinda yeye, kujilinda, kulinda mali ya nchi, kulinda mwananchi, tuko na wewe. And we shall not be intimidated. We have a mandate to protect life and property.
Kindiki also announced that President William Ruto is expected to unveil a task force that will give recommendations on the remuneration of officers. Moving on, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now says the government has reverted the 410 acres of Kenyatta University land, which the management had decried for strategic interventions under the Ministry of Health. Gachagua, who graced the Kenyatta University's 52nd graduation ceremony, slammed retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, saying some individuals in the past regime wanted to grab the land. Sylvia Nyongesa with more.
After a series of theatrics surrounding the 410 acres of Kenyatta University land that saw the dismissal of Kenyatta University Vice Chancellor Paul Wainaina, who has since been reinstated, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has now noted that the land belongs to the institution.
We have agreed that the land revert to Kenyatta University, save for 38 acres, that will be procedurally and in accordance with the law be given to the squatters of Kamai. The rest of the land remains for Kenyatta University and must be preserved as such for the university and for posterity.
While attending Kenyatta University's 52nd graduation, the second in command lauded the management for standing their ground during the series of court cases and disagreements with the University Council, alleging that the highly publicized frustration of the VC was a plot to grab the land.
The lords of impunity, state capture, conflict of interest, and land grabbers intimidated the council and the vice chancellor to allow the grabbing of Kenyatta University land. These great men and women said no.
We are also grateful to the new government for restoring leadership of our university.
Gachagua, who was accompanied by Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogu, has apologized to Professor Wainaina, terming the events that ensued as unwarranted intimidation, while urging public institutions managers to be steadfast in protecting public resources.
On behalf of the government of the Republic of Kenya and the political leadership, we want to apologize to you and your family and the Kenyatta University fraternity for the humiliation that you are accorded for standing firm to refuse the land of Kenyatta University to be grabbed.
It is vital to underscore the significance of education in catalyzing economic development for present and future generations.
The land in question was to be subdivided into 4 parts, where the WHO was to receive 30 acres to set up a 600 million hub. Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention was to get 10 acres, while the Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital and Kamaya Settlement schemes were allocated 180 and 190 acres of land respectively. However, the management of Kenyatta University opposed the directive, insisting that the land had been set aside for the university's expansion plan.
I will do the best I can as an educationist to make sure that we deliver.
Sylvia Nyongesa, TV 47.
President William Ruto has promised to streamline and ensure most government services are available online to Kenyans living abroad. Ruto has tasked the Foreign Affairs docket to ensure government digital services are available in the next 6 months. According to the head of state, the newly created State Department for Diaspora Affairs will boost service delivery to Kenyans abroad, especially on consular matters. Paul Kirobi reports.
President William Ruto Thursday met with Kenyans living in the United States, the president tasking the Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua to ensure 500,000 government services are available online within the next 6 months to ensure they access government services.
They must come up with a mechanism where you don't have to travel to come and look for your passport in Washington, D.C., or if you're living in Minnesota, if you're living in North Carolina, if you're living anywhere in any part of the U.S., you should be able to get those services online, or they have to design a mechanism where even if biometrics are required, they should be available in your town.
We're working on a system whereby we'll have a roving biometric machine that will be able to go around the country, so you can come do your biometrics and get your documents. We're also working on a system whereby we will get offices to be dealing with issues of visas and IDs and others.
Kenyans in the diaspora play a very critical role in Kenya's economy, with their remittance hitting at least $3,718 million in 2021, a trajectory that has increased in the last 15 years. President William Ruto is now targeting to attain $1 trillion for the next 3 years. The president, who is keen on fulfilling his agenda, says the country will play a big role in exporting the human capital, as he urges Kenyans to utilize the opportunity.
We have one commodity that is better than gold and silver and oil, and that is our human capital. And we have purposed as an administration that we will focus on exporting the best that we have. In the next 3 years, our diaspora remittances must move from 400 billion to 1 trillion Kenya shillings. It's possible.
We are going to open up warehouses, at least 7 warehouses here in the United States, where we can be able to bring our Kenyan products, and you can be able to take up our Kenya product from here.
The president kicked off the U.S. tour early this week, where delegates from 49 African countries, as well as the African Union, met during a summit in the U.S. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
And from that, let's focus on some political matters. And former Murang'a County Governor Mwangi wa Iria has vowed to fight for his rightful position and become Mount Kenya's region political kingpin, further blaming a section of leaders in the region over his woes. Addressing the press in Murang'a town, wa Iria termed the graft case implicating his wife as a political witch hunt from some political leaders in Nyeri, Murang'a and Kiambu counties who want to taint his image. EACC has obtained court orders to freeze 2 properties belonging to Mwangi wa Iria's wife, valued at 15 million Kenyan shillings.
Na hiyo mambo, it's being instigated by Mount Kenya readers. Sio watu wa Rift Valley. Hapa viongozi hapa. Kwa sababu kuna wengine wanajifanya vigogo hapa, wanajiita ati wao die sijui Queen Cake kama Kingpin na maana nini. Hao ndio wamekaa wanapiga simu huko EACC. Na wengine hapa walikuwa na makesi ambayo haieleweki. Mtu ananiuliza ati 8/40. Watu walikuwa na kesi ya billions. Sijui bilioni 4-5. Wanaoshwa. Hiyo muosho, hiyo siweji yote ati inawekelewa Wairia. Rubbish. Hiyo mambo nimeionea habari sana. Na vile kunafanyika, na kuambia ukweli, wanajaribu kukata miguu kwa sababu hiyo uchaguzi iliyopita kupitia hiyo Chebukati walihakikisha kwamba sifiki mwisho.
Let's cross over to County 001. And barely a fortnight since the world observed 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, a police officer in Mombasa has turned into a gunman after allegedly shooting his wife, Emily Masita, in the belly following family wrangles. The middle-aged woman, Emily Masita, was shot and rushed to the Coast General Hospital and died while receiving treatment. The father to the deceased received the news with affliction while calling on the local authority to take legal action against the culprit.
Naomba munisaidie, hii ni dhuluma kubwa sana. Msichana wangu ameuawa kinyama na pia ameniwajia watoto wawili. Hao watoto bila wataweza kusoma, bila wataweza kulisha ni ngumu. Kwa hivyo na sisi wakati nilikuja hapa tulikuja tu usiku bila chochote. Sasa hivi tumekaa tu mambo ya kukomboa lodging, kulala ndio tupate hata chakula ni ngumu.
Huyu mama amekufa kifo cha uchungu zaidi. Amekufa na risasi imemuozesha mwili. Tumbo limefura kwa ajili ya risasi. Kile ni chuma na nyama ndani ya mwili. Jamani kina mama, pahali imefikia ukiona jamani ndoa imekuwa na madoadoa, usingoje kuuawa.
Nakemea kitendo hichi. Na nataka niambie kina mama, ukiona yamezidi, toka. Tuko na sehemu nyingi sana ambazo waweza kuja ukapata usaidizi, ukazungumza. Mimi mama county niko hapa, ofisi yangu iko hapa Chuda. Naomba nitafuteni wale ambao mna mambo ambayo yamekaa sana ndani ya nyoyo zenu. Njooni tuzungumze.
Right, listen to this next story. Matumbufu residents in Kandui constituency, Bungoma County, have been left in darkness after unknown people invaded their homes and markets, vandalizing electricity poles. The residents say the unknown assailants have been vandalizing the electricity poles for the past 5 years. The residents say the power outage has restricted movement following the swelling cases of insecurity in the area. This story was produced by Wanji Sostin.
For over 5 years, vandals have wreaked havoc as they vandalized electricity poles in Matumbufu and Ekitale areas in Bungoma County, leaving residents in darkness.
Ati wamechoka kukuja kureplace wire, sisi tunafaa tuchunge, maana sehemu zingine hizo wire zinachungwa.
Ruth Maniafu is a widow and narrates her ordeal.
Mara ya kwanza wakakuja wakatoa posti ikaenda. Mara ya pili wakakuja wakang'oa kichuma. Kijana akanunua tukarudisha. Wakarudi wakakata waya. Mara ya tatu walikuja tena, ilikuwa on Wednesday, Tuesday usiku. Around saa 5 tukaona stima imeenda, tukajua ya kwamba labda imeenda kama kawaida.
Insecurity katika bomba hili ilianza mwaka wa 2014.
Hawa watu wameshatunyanyasa kwa muda mrefu, hasa kwa boma ya Maniafu wameshasumbua zaidi.
Wenye wanaiba vile tunaona sio wa mbali, vijana wetu wa hapa wa karibu. Nataka niwaambie siku zenu, mkono wa serikali tusaidie siku za hawa siwe ni fupi.
Resident here say lack of electricity has affected businesses as traders close early for fear of attacks. The residents have accused the police of sleeping on the job.
Hizo taa ziliibiwa. Sasa saa hii tuko kwa kiza. Hata hakuna biashara tunaweza fanya, tunafunga biashara mapema, kitu saa 12, saa 1 tunakuwa tumeshafunga. Na sasa tunaomba tu serikali yetu ambaye iko kwa sasa, mheshimiwa wetu gavana wetu Rusaka atusaidie kutuwekea tena taa na atusaidie tena kutuletea security ambayo italinda hizo taa ndiposa isiibiwe tena.
Kwa hii market tuna shida, na shida imekuwa ya kwamba usalama hauko. Wezi wanajaribu kuiba, wanaiba waya, wanaiba madukani.
Residents now want the relevant authorities to intervene and apprehend the culprits.
Serikali, naomba serikali mtusaidie. Sisi tunaendelea kuibiwa vitu kwa mapoma, kwa shamba, kupitia kwa stima, tunanunua wanakunyanyasa.
Mimi naambia watu wa Kenya Power, tafadhali muwe na njia ya kufanya security kwa hiyo transformer. Alafu kama mtu anauzika na wizi wa waya, fadhali apatikane.
Bungoma South OCS David Odongo, confirming the incident, said they have launched a probe into the matter.
Now, as the fight against female genital mutilation intensifies, there are concerns that girls from Rombo, Kajiado County are not spared from the cut as some residents explore alternative means to continue the vice whilst escaping the long arm of the law. Elizabeth Atieno reports.
It has been 11 years since Kenya began its fight against female genital mutilation, which has since affected over 4 million women and girls from the pastoralist communities. However, there are concerns that the fight against the vice is far from over. In Rambo, Kajiado County, children's rights activists and local security officers are gathered here for an emergency meeting following revelations that some pro-FGM individuals had improvised alternative means to carry out the cut in a secret manner, where the cut is done during delivery with the full knowledge of both the mother and the doctor.
Tumewaambia madaktari pia, tumekuwa na madaktari tukawaambia kwamba kitu kama hiyo kitendeka kwa hiyo hospitali, wao watakuwa answerable, watachukuliwa hatua kali.
So saa zile ambayo mtoto anapojifungua, hapo daktari anachukua jukumu la kuweza kumkeketa.
If a girl is lucky enough to escape the cut at birth, they are later taken to the Kenya-Tanzania border where they are forced to undergo the cut.
Kwa ambao wanaona kama wanaweza peleka watoto wao Tanzania, kuna hao maboda patrol ambao tunashirikiana na wao. Kazi yao itakuwa kukuwa vigilant, kuwatch, kuhakikisha kabisa hao watoto hawatavukishwa hivyo, na iwapo watafukishwa huko kwenda kufanywa ukeketaji ama kuolewa mapema, kuna hiyo sheria ambayo watapelekwa tu kotini na watafungwa.
A section of residents have since raised concerns over the matter. A large number of both women and men in the area are still rooted in deep cultural beliefs, which has worsened the situation.
Ndipo sasa tumekaa kama jamii, tumeshirikiana na viongozi wa serikali, washirikiana na kanisa pamoja na washikadau wengine kuhakikisha yule mtoto Mkenya ambaye ndio taifa letu la kesho amejua kwamba acha tahiri kichwa akili, lakini sio mwili.
In 2011, Kenya outlawed FGM, where aiding or abetting FGM, possessing tools to carry out the practice, and failure to report the person carrying out FGM were cited as serious offenses with a potential 3-year jail term sentence or a 200,000 Kenya shillings fine. And now, some of the residents against the vice in Rambo are eagerly waiting for the long arm of the law to catch up with those involved. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth Atieno, and hopefully the long arm of the law will definitely catch up with them. Now, to some court cases. 3 officers and a civilian who were found guilty. The murder of lawyer Willie Kimani, his client and driver, will now be sentenced on 3rd February 2023 and not today as earlier scheduled. Officers Frederick Leliman, Stephen Cheruburet and Sylvia Njiko, together with the informer Peter Ngugi, were found guilty of premeditated murder on 22nd July 2022 by Justice Jessie Lesit, who was then supposed to give her sentence on November 12th. However, the sentencing was rescheduled to today since Justice Lesit was not in the country at the time. In mitigation through his lawyer, Cliff Umbeta, Leliman convicted officer Frederick Leliman said he is now a religious man and has spent the last 6 years reflecting on his actions, and he is remorseful.
And 8 children, 2 wives, 8 children. The wives are not working. The eldest son, who's 21, what does he do? He goes from place to place to see whether he can be able to get a job to sustain. This is why they depended on him. He was the sole breadwinner of the family. So coupled with the idea of taking care of the family and his siblings and himself and his health, my lady, please forgive me. But this forgiveness, let us match it also with the family. And I'm telling them, and I know they're here, you have to forgive him. If you need to heal, start by forgiving him. Then he will heal. the children are not going to school anymore. They are being chased because of fees. If he's not out there anymore, they end up like him, not being able to go to school and starting to look for something to do.
And from the coasts to the skies, the country is set to witness a tourism boost in the coastal region following the launch of the first direct flight from Mombasa to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says the move by Kenya Airways will boost tourism in the region and safeguard millions of jobs in the coastal city. Tourism and Transport Cabinet Secretaries Penina Malonza and Kipchumba Murkomen urged the national carrier to be more innovative in order to beat increasing competition from other airlines.
This is a huge milestone for our aviation industry and associated sectors. The launch of this flight marks yet another initiative of sustaining millions of jobs in the tourism sector at the coast region. By connecting the Kenyan coast to Middle East, the travel time is effectively reduced, thereby making Kenya one of the most attractive destinations for the Middle East.
A strong Kenya Airways will guarantee a strong aviation sector and a healthy tourism sector. We are committed to exploring ways through which we can stabilize Kenya Airways operations and return it to profitability. As government, we are keen to rally all the stakeholders towards unlocking this immense potential and increase its contribution in the GDP to double digit. In this regard, we will be formulating a progressive aviation policy that will see the modernization of our operations, improvement of our infrastructure, and enhancement of connectivity, safety, and security through application of modern.
Right, let's jump to the wonderful world of sports. Right, now picture this. Imagine investing in only 49 Kenyan shillings and getting instant returns from 200 million Kenyan shillings. Well, that is the life of Eli Kipruto Rotich, who was earlier today named Kenya's newest and youngest millionaire. His Christmas came early after he won gaming firm Betika's mega jackpot. The 22-year-old student at the Kenyatta University of Science and Technology, GOtv, received his check from Betika of 200 million Kenyan shillings at the Serena Hotel in Nairobi after correctly predicting the outcome of, get this, 17 games. Eli, who was born in Nandi County, says winning the jackpot took several failed attempts. However, upon careful analysis of the lined-up games and teams, he managed to make and correct predictions, but engaging the sport responsibly without falling into addiction. Now, the young millionaire has major investments plans. However, he says he'll prioritize procuring a parcel of land as well as building a house for his parents as a token of appreciation.
Remember, it was on a Sunday and it was supposed to start at, it was saa 9:30. So nikakaa chini, kalamu yangu hapo hivi na kitabu natumiaga kuanalyze, kaanza kuandika 1 hadi 17. Halafu nikaenda nikaangalia matches zimewahi kucheza, nikaanalyze hivyo, nikaona timu inaweza piga ingine. Halafu nikacheza tu na odds na hivyo ndio ikakuja. My first priority maybe ninunue kashamba hapo hivi, halafu niangalie wazazi and my siblings and the others will follow. Maisha tu imekuwa tumetoka in a very humble background. Sasa maisha ni hivi tu, kusurvive tu.
200 million Kenyan shillings. Can you imagine that? Food for thought. What is the first thing you'd ever do with 200 million Kenyan shillings right on the table with you? Now, the national esports team started the Global Esports Games campaign on a slow foot after losing in the 2 categories of games they're taking part in against Armenia and Thailand, respectively, at the Istanbul Bomonti Hotel in Istanbul, Turkey. Evander Minor, who's taking part in eFootball, put in a spirited fight in his 3-set fixtures against Armenia's Kachatur Hakboyan, however, lost the duel in 2 matches to 1. Meanwhile, in the daughter game category, Kenya went down 2-0 to Thailand at the quarterfinal stage to mark an end end of their journey at the maiden global competition, as the Team Kenya coach Alan Gitau stated that they have learnt a lot and will improve.
We met one of the best daughter 2 gamers in the world, that's Thailand. These girls are very much experienced compared to what we are used to, but I can say we put on a very good fight. We've even stunned them. We've even killed some of them in the gameplays. So I can tell we did pretty well.
For the first time, I was really comfortable in using the gadgets that we were provided for. And I think the difference in how we've actually performed is the kind of equipment they had and the kind of equipment that we've been using to practice mostly. Yeah.
They were very advanced keyboards, very advanced. I used a very advanced mouse and the screen as well. And the Wi-Fi was amazing. Some things that I didn't train with back home. So if we could get better equipment as a team, I think it will improve the gaming experience as well.
For the minister, he has to look at esports now as a branch of sports inside the country, because I think there's a lot of players that are playing esports.
And finally, some basketball action. Kenya Ports Authority ladies basketball team thrashed Rwanda's APR club 67-38 in the first FIBA Africa Women's Club Championship classification match played in Maputo, Mozambique. KPA guard Ifunaya Okoro. Right, my watch says 30 minutes past the top of the hour, and the news stand. Definitely Friday coming up. Now, you definitely want to watch this, because the kind of voices you'll be hearing here, there are only 4 of them, but the zeal that they have to sing, and just how young they are, you definitely want to watch this. Tabim Sisters coming up next on Friday.